Hey guys, welcome back. My name is Wildcard. Thank you for being here watching my content. I really do appreciate it. And as always, it is my pleasure and the absolute privilege to entertain you here on YouTube. And yes, you are here today is because it's Tuesday and it's time to read some rugby news. So first up, let's go to South Africa. The Springboks have announced a 33-man squad for a training camp, a lineman camp in Durban. And this is a really interesting selection because the Rugby Championship that's coming up is actually a 36-man squad allowed, whereas the 33-man selection is targeted at the Rugby World Cup, which is only 33-man squad going into the Rugby World Cup. So this is probably more catering to that settings instead of the Rugby Championship. So Springboks will have a bit more leeways coming up as well. So yeah, the selections are pretty interesting. Let's have a look at it. So props, Thomas du Toit from South Sea Sharks, Steven Kitsoff, Frans Malherbe, and Ox Nche rounds up the props. The hookers, Joseph Dweba, Malcolm Marx, and Bungi Mbonabi, 3 hookers. In the locking positions, Luke Diaga, Ibn Esbeth, Marvin Ori, and RG Snyman returning after 3 years on an injury list. He's finally returning. And he had a pretty good outing on the weekend for Munster. So yeah, really, the Springboks, it doesn't look like he hasn't lost much of a beat despite being literally years off from an injury. Loose forwards, Peter Step du Toit, Siya Kolisi. Yes, Siya Kolisi is in the training squad now. He's probably not going to be belting people in the tackling, but his surgery from his knee has gone pretty well, and the Springboks has reported that he is on track to return for the Rugby World Cup. Now, typically the knee injury will rule a player out, but they think Siya Kolisi will be able to recover before the Rugby World Cup. That's why he's in the squad. Will be the captain as well. Evan Ross from Stormers, Huaga Smith, Marco van Staden, and Dwayne the Rock Vermeulen finishes off the loose forwards. And the utility forwards, they have Dion Ferry and Franco Mostert. Dion Ferry will be both a hooker and a loose forward. Franco Mostert will be a lock and a loose forward as well. Scrum half, Faf de Klerk, Jaden Hendrickse, Herschel Yanshis, Kobus Reinach, and Grant Williams. I'm a little bit, that's the selections there for the halfbacks. I don't know why they have 6 halfbacks. I mean, they're all specialized halfbacks as well. Maybe, Grant Williams, I think he can play winger, but the other 5 are specialized halfbacks. I don't know why they need so many, but it is what it is. I mean, you have more halfbacks than props. What's going on here? But anyway, fly half, Martin LeBlanc and Damien Willemse. Interesting here. Johan Huessen isn't selected, and Hundred Pollard is obviously the other person that's not part of the fly half selections. And Pollard does play in Europe, but I'm surprised that Huessen isn't selected. So maybe he's injured. Let me know if that's the case. But yeah, Willemse, a lot of you guys were like, oh yeah, he's really, why do they keep giving him opportunity at 10? With all the injuries that could potentially happen with the strict HIA rules in the Rugby World Cup where you have to stand down for 2 weeks, Willemse might be the guy that's going to end up playing fly half at the final because of, HIA and injury, HIA protocols. So yeah, the coaches definitely have that in mind, trying to give Willemse as much time as possible because the Willemse does cover a very wide range of positions for the Springboks. And so I think that's, it is pretty evident and obvious that Willemse is not as good as Manuel LeBlanc or any other fly half, but he's getting a lot of time at the fly half position for the Springboks, and I think that is the reason. Lukamu Arm comes in for the centers, Damien Dialendi and Jesse Krill are the typical centers for the Springboks. On the outside backs, Kurti Arensa, Villa LaRue, Makuzolo Mapimpi, and Kanan Moody. So the obviously missing one is Cheslin Kobe. He is playing in France. He's just been released by his club. So yeah, Cheslin Kobe is not here. So maybe because traveling issues, timings of that, traveling on the timings. But interesting that Cheslin Kobe is not selected. I'm sure that he will be added into the squad later on in another training session. So yeah, like I said, Sia Kolisi, despite having a knee surgery, has been confirmed that he will be fit for the Rugby World Cup. He's going to be recovering quicker than normal people. He's superhuman, and that is really good news for the Springboks. Speaking of Cheslin Kobe, he has been released from his Toulon contract. He has like 1 year left, and with both parties mutually agree they're going to end the contract, and he's been not confirmed yet, but it's rumored that he will be going to the Suntory Sun Goliath in Japan. Next up, the obvious big game of the weekend, Munster versus the Stormers in South Africa. Munster coming out with a 19 points to 14 win over the Stormers in Cape Town. This was quite a huge upset, and I don't even call it an upset because Stormers has never beaten Munster. So despite the Munster was lower in the rankings and Stormers were at home, yeah, Munster came out swinging. All the away games had to play to get to the finals, probably built into their preparations, and they looked like they were the better team out there on the day. Perfect defense, good kicking game, and yeah, the clinicalness in their 4-pack, the set piece was just a little bit better than the Stormers. So I was surprised considering, especially in that forward battle, because the Stormers has a lot of Springboks in their team. So yeah, congratulations to Munster. And if you want to see the full review for this, it is on my channel, so I'll go into details on all the intricacies that happen in the game. But yeah, that is a huge win for Munster, the URC title. The Stormers was the winner last year, so yeah, big win for Munster to take the title from them. Go to Scotland now. The head coach Gregor Townsend 3 weeks ago already confirmed that he's re-signed with Scotland. So his assistant coaches just confirmed last week that they're also going to be extending their contracts to 2026, and that is Stephen Tandy, John Dalziel, and Peter De Villiers are all going to be extending the contract with Scotland. So yes, the other final that was played on the weekend was the English Premiership between the Saracens and the Sharks, and the Saracens has won the English Premiership once again after being relegated for breaching the contract, the salary cap. They have returned and made themselves champions once again. And this time, I guess this time I was gonna say without cheating, but this time they've managed to hide their books a little bit better, I guess. But yeah, 35 points to 25 win over the Sales Sharks. And yes, the big talking point was the protest in the first half. So the Just Stop Oil group that kind of has been wreaking a bit of havoc in UK at the moment, based on my understanding. They invade like soccer games and stuff. So yeah, they invaded this game. Players came on and threw like orange paint dust into the field that had been removed. But yeah, it is what it is. People are not happy about fossil fuel expansion of fossil fuel production in UK, so they wanted to stop that. Next up, there are 10 players going to be leaving Leinster at the end of this year, which includes Johnny Sexton. So Johnny Sexton, Dave Carney, James Tracy, Nick McCarthy, Ty McElroy, Charlie Ryan, Sean O'Brien, Max O'Reilly, Marcus Hainan, Andrew Smith are all going to be leaving Leinster at the end of the year. Johnny Sexton obviously going to be retiring. Next up, there was a fixture between the Barbarians and Will 15. The Barbarians coached by Eddie Jones. Will 15 coached by Sir Steve Hansen. Yes, actual Sir. For real this time, no sarcasm. Sir Steve Hansen coaching the Will 15. And Eddie Jones has walked out of this game the winner, with the Barbarians downing the Will 15, 48 points to 42. And this was a quite an interesting game at Twickenham. There was Alan Wynne-Jones, there was Quade Cooper, there was Gareth Anscombe, there was Israel Folau playing for Will 15 where he got booed. And it was a fun game overall. And the Eddie Jones was obviously interviewed afterwards, after, obviously returning to Twickenham, his thoughts about returning and all that sort of stuff. But, he felt like when he was coaching England rugby, they had set him up to play against the Barbarians at the end of the year in July a few times, and he didn't think that was uh, he didn't think that was good set up for England rugby overall because obviously same as this game last year, England rugby had the Premiership finals on the same weekend, so England didn't have all the players. He felt like that was just really wasn't a good fixture for England rugby because they're not really getting anything out of it, and it was just he thought it was a bit of a dishonest advertisement because the England team was so under, under I guess under powered because of the lack of Premiership players. He thought that should probably rename that if they're gonna play the England team to something like the captain's team or something instead, or the England 15 or something instead of instead of the actual England team to play this Barbarian team if they're gonna do that again. So he wasn't really happy about that, and he wants to he wants that to be stopped for England essentially. So there was an injury that was a bit concerning for the Wallabies. Samuel Karevi had a hamstring injury out of this game, so hopefully it's gonna be all right. He has a knee reconstruction last year where he decided to play sevens for Commonwealth Games. I mean, what a waste of talent to play sevens with one Commonwealth game, like honestly. And he got himself injured, so now he's had a hamstring problem, and as a result of that. So obviously the big name Israel Folau returns to Twickenham, and he got booed, and there was a pride flag flying. And no matter what your thoughts are, I thought it was he shouldn't be booing people like this. It's his religion. You might disagree with him, and Steve Hansen kind of put this quite nicely. I felt like he said that he's a great believer that you can't help somebody change by leaving them on the outside. So if you keep booing them, you're not gonna help them becoming a better person. You're just gonna keep them more marginalized than before. So if you want them to change, you want them to change their views on the world, you have to give them another chance. You have to help them understand. You have to be nice to them. So yeah, really, I thought it was kind of booing people with it in this sort of circumstance, especially with Israel's belief stems from his religion and his upbringing. I thought it's pretty low blow from the English fans. And yes, so Super Rugby playoff weekend, quite an interesting last rounds has come up for Super Rugby. So there was huge ramifications for every team except for maybe the top one, which is the Chiefs. They don't really care. They've already secured the top spot. No matter what happens, they're not gonna lose their number one team. So they're gonna be going to play Western Force with potentially a B team whilst resting. No, there will be a B team because they will be resting all of their star players. And so Western Force versus the Chiefs. So with that being said, the Western Force can still make the finals. So there's a lot of teams lingering on that edge of the table to make the top 8. So Highlanders has a really difficult game against the Blues coming up at what do you call it? Has a really difficult game against the Blues at what do you call what's the home ground? Eden Park. So that's gonna be a difficult match for Highlanders in any place they're gonna be playing against the Blues. But if the Highlands wins, if they win with a bonus point, they would guarantee themselves into the final. If they win without a bonus point, the Western Force, probably can still make it. They might, actually no, maybe not. The Western Force, even if they win with a bonus point, they're still gonna be loose on point differential. But yeah, if Highlanders can beat the Blues, they will definitely make themselves into the finals. But this is a really important game for the Blues. The Blues don't really want to lose this one because if they lose, they could potentially fall out of the top 4. So yeah, so the Blues don't want to lose this one because Brumbies is going to be playing the Melbourne Rebels, which could be an easy win for them and could leapfrog them to 4th. And the Hurricanes will be playing against the Crusaders. With Crusaders so far ahead, again, Crusaders secured the 2nd spot already, so Crusaders are not going to be worried about. So even the Blues win with a bonus point against the Highlanders, the Crusaders still ahead because of point difference, unless there's a massive blowout. So Crusaders might just play a B team against the Hurricanes, and the Hurricanes could win that. And if the Hurricanes do win, and if the Blues lose, Hurricanes could overtake Blues as well. So the Blues fall from 3 to 5th and miss out a home game. So the Blues have to at least walk with the bonus point over the Highlanders. So it's going to be a difficult spot for the Blues to, for Highlanders to not to win this game, because there's a lot on the line for the Blues. And then we got Fijian and Europe versus the Reds. Again, whichever team wins this one will make into the top 8 essentially. And then if the Reds lose, they're going to fall out of top 8. So this is a huge game for the Endurers. They can still make it for themselves. And the Reds, this will be played in Fiji. The Endurers will be swinging for that one. And then Rebels, obviously, playing the Brumbies. Brumbies kind of want to win this one as well. They don't want to fall out of top 5. If they fall out of top 5, losing to the Rebels, that's going to be no home game for them. So that's really, really bad as well. Waratahs will be playing against Moana Pacifica. So whichever way it goes, Waratahs will stay at 6th. It's not going to change anything for them. So yeah, quite a lot of interesting stuff that can happen on the weekend. So I guess the big one is the Reds and Fijian and Juro to determine if Reds is even going to be in the top 8. And that's going to be something to watch out for. So Tom Wright has re-signed with the Wallabies. His agent was kind of talking about getting a lot of money for him because of the Joseph Swali'i deal. But yeah, Tom Wright has re-signed to 2025, and hopefully he's getting a lot of money. They haven't really disclosed how much money he's getting, but there was a lot of talks about wanting to get in more money because Joseph Swali'i and Eddie Jones actually thinks that he could be one of the best fullback in the world. I think he's really, really good. He has all the talent in the world. He just needs to work on his tackling. His defense is a bit lacking, but in terms of running game, his run meters is the highest in the Wallabies team on a consistent basis every game, like just by miles. He's really, really, just really that good. So then we have what's his first name? Tom Robertson has re-signed with the Western Force with Rugby Australia to 2024. And yes, apparently this guy is a genius. Okay, he is signed a weird contract with Rugby Australia where he's allowed a sabbatical next year to go studying Oxford. Yes, he's going to be studying in Oxford in a master degree of public policy. He currently has a degree in medical science and master of public health already. So he's going to be studying another master degree in philosophical medicine. So yeah, he'll be going to Oxford to study public policy. So he's already got master degree of philosophical medicine, master degree of public health. So he's going to be doing another one in public policy, a master degree, and then he's going to be going via John Monash scholarship. So he's not even going to be paying out of his own pocket. So yeah, turns out this guy's a genius. So Genius also injured himself on the weekend. He had a anterior cruciate ligament injury, which is an ACL on the knee. So yeah, he's going to be out for a little bit. Next up, the big return on the weekend was the callback of John Afoa. He finished playing in France, got called back immediately, landed in New Zealand, and was put on the field to play for the Crusaders due to their injuries in the front rowers. And he had a nice game outings, and the Crusaders was able to beat the Waratahs quite convincingly. It was a big return for him. But the Crusaders did walk out with 2 injuries. That's one of them was huge concerning. David Havili limped off the field with a leg injury, and Colin Grace came out with a knee injury. So not sure how bad Havili's injury was. He had a broken arm early in the season. So Havili is going to be really, really important for the New Zealand All Blacks going into the Rugby Championship and the Rugby World Cup. Will Jordan, another name, has been re-signed for the All Blacks till 2027. So he's signed to another World Cup cycle, which is really, really good. He's one of the most talented players for the All Blacks. And then the Hurricanes has announced a new coach going into next year. So Clark Laidlaw has become the new coach of the Hurricanes. As the current coach, Jason Holland, is going to become assistant coach for the All Blacks under Scott Robertson after the World Cup next year. The big signings of the Crusaders has been managed to poach Levi Amoa from the Moana Pacifica to play for the Crusaders. Levi Amoa plays outside center. He's very, very physical, very, very good player. On the weekend, he scored a try when he rumped over like a defender, a Fijian and drill player, or just bumped him over for a try. Really, really good, powerful game player, and he's also has huge ambitions to play for the All Blacks. So that's a good move for him. And one more. For New Zealand, they are going to be losing out one of the big star wingers, upcoming wingers that's on fire at the moment. Is Lester Fainga'a-Nuku. He's been playing exceptionally well for the Crusaders, especially the weekend against the Waratahs. And he's going to be going to Toulon, and he will be leaving New Zealand rugby at the end of the year. The fate of Dave Rennie's coaching career has just been unveiled. He has signed with the Japanese club, the Kobe Steelers, to start next season. He was talking about potentially returning to New Zealand. He has declined that. But there was some talks that he was going to go to Japan. But it's confirmed that he's going to Japan indeed. And finally, Wayne Smith has been linked up with a coaching role with New Zealand, that he will be a performance coach for both the All Blacks and the Black Fern. So both the girls and men's team, that is going to be as a performance coach for both teams. So interesting stuff. So that's the news for this week, guys. Let me know your thoughts on any of the articles. Like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you for watching. I'll see you guys this weekend for Super Rugby Final Round Review. Cheers.